Have you ever made a couple cards and you don't like them, but you have no idea why? That happened to me today, and I'm going to share my process with you so that you can better identify what it is about your card design that's not working for you. Hey guys, it's Amber. Welcome to another Color Connection episode. This month's Altenew challenge is a year in review, so you can choose any of the color schemes. I'll be using the January 2020 color scheme today. There's a link to the inspiration challenge in the description below. While you're there, be sure to like and subscribe. My idea today was to create some two-tone flowers with the purple color and the orange color from the color scheme. And one of my go-to sets is Ruffled flowers for this. You can really layer up two colors pretty easily with this particular stamp set. Here you can see some examples that I have from a previous project. So I'll start off by stamping the outline layer with Obsidian Pigment ink. This is my go-to ink anytime I want a black outline, so long as I'm not using alcohol ink markers, but I love this for watercolor, layer stamping, and everything else. So I'll go ahead and stamp this, and I'm using 4 1/4 by 5.5 Nina Classic Crust Solar White cardstock here, and this is the 80-pound version. And you'll see that this just stamps beautifully. For the second layer, I've gone ahead and lined it up, and I'll stamp this in Chamomile Crisp Dye ink, and this is from the Golden Sunset family. Now these stamps layer up really easily. Basically the outline of the stamps will follow the outline image, and you'll see that when I stamp this. So it's super easy to line these up. Of course you want to refer to your layering guide on the back of the packaging. For the second layer, I'm going to use Magenta Crisp Dye ink, and take a look at how purple this looks right now. But of course, when you stamp this over the kind of yellow orangish color, it's going to turn a burgundy type color. It's almost got like a Harry Potter Gryffindor vibe going on here, and I really love how it warmed up the magenta. I'm going to do another set of these for my second layer. This time I'm going to use Orange Cream. Orange Cream is from the Warm and Cozy ink family. And then I'll put magenta on top of these as well. So I have a little bit of a color variation going on here. For the leaves, the first layer I did in Frayed Leaf, and the second layer I did some of them in Evergreen and some of the others in Forest Glades. I die cut the images, and it's time to start creating the cards. So I have the Doodle Dots cover die, and then I have the Tea Party washi tape here, and I'm just playing around with arranging these clusters of flowers. I don't like these designs, and in fact they don't make the cut. Part of the issue, or the biggest part of the issue, is that the floral clusters are so busy that your eye doesn't know where to look. There's just too much to look at. I haven't figured that out yet though. So I'm switching out the green background for white. I feel like that's a little bit better, but it's still just kind of busy and my eye doesn't know where to look, and I really feel like that's the biggest problem. I need a better focal point on these cards. Now this design I actually really like. Your eye knows exactly where to go. You've got the two strips, the vertical floral cluster. That looks really clean and nice, and it's not cluttered. So this is a good design. I think this with a small sentiment to the side would be perfect, and you could just leave it at that. Maybe a couple enamel dots, but I decided to try something different. So I have the Mega Alphabet H die, the Nesting Frames die set, because I wanted to create that focal point, so I'm going to use this. And I have the Hello and Hugs stamp set. And so I've pulled out my jet black ink spray. If you don't have the jet black ink spray for your black splatter, you could also use black watercolor paint, or you can use the watercolor pencils to do your splatter. All of those are good options. But I wanted just a little bit of speckle on the background. So I have my floral clusters, and I'm just going to play around with arranging these again. And off camera, I stamped a sub-sentiment from the Hello and Hug stamp set onto my nesting die cut there. So I'm just playing around with these, and then I'm going to create a focal point in the center with this die cut and a word die. Black creates a ton of contrast, especially if you have a lot of white space on your card. So I've cut the watercolor hello die from black cardstock and I've added that to the center of my die cut. I'm just going to trim off a couple of these leaf clusters just because I feel like I need a little bit more greenery down there at the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and glue these down, but I will pop up some of the elements. So I'll glue down kind of like the inner base of these floral clusters, and then I'll leave the ends free so I can pop some foam squares underneath the leaves and flowers that are closer to the edges of the card. So here you can see I'm just adding a little bit of extra greenery just to break up some of that color. For the second card, I did opt for the white on white background because I felt like that was less distracting, and I've kind of weaved these floral images in and out of the H die. So again, that high contrast black is going to immediately add that focal point to the center of my card. So even though these floral clusters are a little bit busy, the black and the white break that up and you know exactly where to look. I don't often put things directly in the middle of my card. So like in the last card, for instance, you could see that I had them running up vertically right through the center of the card, and that didn't quite look right to me. So I offset them and put them on a diagonal just a little bit. And to me, that's a little more pleasing to the eye. I think it creates a little bit more flow. We typically read left to right. So when I angle something, I usually put it on a diagonal from the left to the right. Although it may not look like it in this video, I really struggled with these cards today, and a big part of that was normally my flowers are my focal point. They're usually what people look at first, but these were busier florals, so the brain was a little bit confused as to what to look at. So that focal point, the high contrast black or a lot of white space, really helps you to zero in on that focal point and have a place to look. Basically, it organizes the chaos that your brain is trying to process. If you learned something from this video today, please hit the like and subscribe button down below and let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll see you soon with more inspiration.